Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lisa DeMeo, and I am joined by my husband, Chris DeMeo. And we are here at the Talking Gravesend podcast, the podcast that celebrates William DeMeo's series, Gravesend.
We come from Springfield, baby. We come from Springfield. We come from Springfield, baby. We come from Springfield. We come from Springfield, baby. We come from Springfield. We come from Springfield, baby. We come from Springfield.
We're having a lot of fun on this little project, aren't we, Lisa? Getting to watch Gravesend a bunch, doing the work that we get to do, a lot of show prep for this,
Yes.
Really enjoying it.
I'm having a great time. I hope you are as well.
So this episode is episode 3 of the season 1 that's available right now on Tubi and on Amazon Prime. The name of the episode is The Mezuzah Revisited. And I'm not sure if I said that right because I'm not really Jewish, but I should have asked my friend Evan before we started the show.
Yes, we should have.
So the scene opens in Borough Park, Brooklyn, which is a predominantly Jewish neighborhood, and there's a young boy named, I think his name is Jacob, and he's being played by Anthony Rosenthal, and he's saying goodbye to another boy. And the other boy says, "Bye, Jacob," so you catch who his name is. He starts walking up the street, and he's approached by a man, Saul Cohen, who's played by Justin Wilson. He was from Posse, and he's telling him that his uncle is upstairs, and he has a present for him.
Yes, yes. And Jacob is skeptical at first.
He is.
Which is good. Children, never trust an adult.
Never trust an adult. Never go somewhere where they say we've got a present or candy or anything like that.
Or family members waiting upstairs.
And he was going to leave, and then Saul said, "Oh well,
I'll tell you what it is.
I'll tell you what it is."
He got him with the Nintendo. He said, "Oh, that Nintendo you've been wanting."
Yeah, it sparked his interest right away.
Absolutely. So inside goes the little boy.
And you see that it's obviously malicious intent because the uncle wasn't there. Saul goes behind him and closes the door, and there we go. You get an idea something really bad is about to happen.
Absolutely.
So boom, we go into the awesome Lords of Brooklyn Gravesend intro that we love so much, and the scene opened. They're having a sit down with Benny, Chris, Danny Cuccio, and a brand new character that we see today, Ray Sarbetto, Ray Scars.
Ray Scars, yes. Yes, so we already know why they're there at the sit-down. This is repercussions due to the
whole Danny Cuccio, Gino incident, all covered in, I think it was episode 1 that it all started. If you haven't watched it, make sure you go ahead and watch episode 1 of Talking Gravesend podcast, where we cover that whole fight. Before we jump into the scene, I just want to quickly, this is because every time we bring in a new character, Lisa, I'd like to give a little bit of their history and the filmography here in the series. Nicholas Torturo was the one who is playing Nicky Scars, right? I said that right?
Correct.
Yeah. No, excuse me. He's playing Ray Scars.
Ray Scars,
Yeah,
yes.
sorry. And so I looked a little bit. I knew about Torturo from a bunch of different movies. Little tidbit: his cousin is Ada. Ada Torturo, who played Janice in The Sopranos.
Oh, I love Janice.
Yeah, so actually, I guess Nick got his start with Spike Lee in Do the Right Thing. He ended up doing some voiceover work, and Spike Lee was so impressed with Nick that he actually wrote a part just for him in Mo Better Blues. So anyway, there's a little bit about Nick. Really interesting role. Love the actor. Great. That's another thing we talk about in this series is all of the awesome talent that's on screen, and Nicholas is definitely one of those guys. All right, let's go ahead and just watch a little bit of the scene together.
I heard you guys were acting like a bunch of big shots. Made a fucking scene in the bar. Throwing names around, including the both of you. So my guy here, Danny, steps in and he straightens this kid Gino out. He gives him a beating. As far as I'm concerned, he actually did both of you guys a favor.
There he is. Ray Scarbetto, a.k.a. Ray Scars.
It's not what I heard.
What'd you hear?
I heard that you were out of line.
That's fucking bullshit, okay? Let me tell you, Chris.
Yep.
Sorry, this kid here should
Not your turn.
keep his mouth shut when he opens it. As you were saying.
It's a funny line.
Tell them what happened. Well, Danny
Comes in
Reno
strong.
was the real truth. A few years ago, my guy Gino opened up his hole. Slapped him around, acting like a real asshole. Now Danny gets his button.
You could see that was news to somebody at the table there.
Hits my
Boss
guy
doesn't
in
like to
front of a
have
bar
news
full of
brought to his
people,
attention during a meeting.
knowing my guy can hit him back because of the rank he holds over him.
I mean, he's coming over. He's in this sit down. He's coming over strong. He's coming over the top a bit. Oh, and that's all I got on that one.
That was
So,
the clip.
and it goes in where Benny actually says, if it wasn't for the respect I have for both you, the two of you guys at the table, meaning Chris and Ray Scars, he would have wiped the room with Danny. And then Danny gets all hot and starts screaming. Really an interesting scene where they end up really coming to an impasse. And go ahead.
No progress was made at that meeting.
No progress was made. They actually, Chris said, let's go. We're done here. And he and Benny walk out. And when they do, Ray Scars turns to Danny and goes, is this beef a real thing? And Danny says, no, Benny's a cokehead. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And that was
not true.
Which is not true. And in fact, we moved to the FBI, who's actually listening in on this conversation.
Right. And they even say, that's not true. Cuccio's the one that's the cokehead.
Yeah, if anybody's a cokehead, it's Cuccio. So that was a pretty interesting, a little interesting scene.
Absolutely.
Then we clip to something something very dark, which we see this lifeless body of Jacob. Saul is pulling him from the couch. He's in his black underwear.
Yep.
So obviously horrible things occurred there. Then we come to 8 minutes with the next scene with Gino, Vinny, Tommaso, and Mikey the Hat sitting at the table.
Sitting around the table. Let's see what happens here.
And Vinny's talking about just he's going out of his mind because of everything that he hasn't been able to do anything about.
He can't do anything about it.
A day will come.
Yeah, well, it couldn't come soon enough. Mikey, I'm going out of my mind since this happened. I can't even fucking breathe.
You'll need to relax, the both of you.
Yeah, so Mikey's their handlers pretty much,
Yeah,
right?
he's trying to keep everyone level. He knows.
So here's the deal. You gotta back off for now.
Oh, he's pissed.
This is coming from Chris. Believe me, I want to reach across the table at that sit down and strangle that prick Danny.
Okay.
And by saying that, Benny, we know you got in a little heat there. You shouldn't have said that. That's a no-no.
Benny's not happy here, and he doesn't want to deliver this news, but he's doing what he has to do. And they decide, look, let's go out tonight, and it's really to save face, right?
Yeah.
Because the crew's kind of in trouble. People are pissed at the things that have gone down. So he's like, come on, let's blow us some steam, and let's go publicly be out.
Absolutely. And they're trying to make the statement that, even though one of their guys recently got beat up, they're not going to, they're not going to go into hiding.
Yeah, they're not doing anything. They didn't do anything wrong, is what he said.
Exactly.
Gino's clearly disappointed. Benny tells him, and Benny kicks back the line from the previous episode that Crazy Chris told him, you can't always get what you want when you want it. So there's a theme of that coming back, right? So there is it. He's, it's up to Mikey to keep this crew in check right now, and I think Mikey knows he's a little bit on thin ice as well, knowing how things are going. The next scene opens up with the Vegas Diner with Virginia, and just a really fun. The Vegas Diner is a famous place. I actually had seen a couple of podcasts with William DeMeo on, and he was talking about the Vegas Diner. That the diner literally had bouncers. That people would go there after the clubs. Things would get a little wild, and I guess one of the bouncers ended up getting stabbed at one point. And I mean, it was a heavy place.
Yes,
so.
I saw that as well.
It's a regular. So we have Greek diners up here that are open 24 hours a day. It's fun. You can get everything from like a meatloaf sandwich to what I like?
Gyro.
Pepper and egg. You can get a pepper and
little
egg.
pepper and egg.
Yep. So they're great, and obviously they're having a great time being there. She says she couldn't wait to order a Brooklyn Burger Deluxe,
Yes.
and then so they. Actually, I think their maitre d' or the owner comes in and thanks Benny for being there, and then he tells this waiter, "Hey, take good care of these guys." Waiter comes in. His character name is Billy Landon.
Yes.
The actor's name is Sean Meehan, and he was in The Deuce, actually, one of our other favorite shows.
Yes, I liked The Deuce. That was a great show.
So, he takes their order, and he kind of doubles back, and he's like, Virginia, is
that you? And already you could see the skepticism on Benny's face. He's like, what?
Yeah.
What the heck?
And Virginia was like, she didn't even want to acknowledge
She's like,
him, and she's like, whatever. So he's like, oh, it's me. Don't you remember? I grew up around the block from you. And he walked away, and Benny goes, funny, he doesn't remember me. We were on the same Little League team.
Right, I played Little League with this guy. But anyway, so Virginia is talking about, wanting to open a hair salon. And Benny's like, oh, you want to do that? So do we have that scene?
I'm going to take a look. Yeah, we do have, we got we got to have the opening here with Virginia.
And I love her hair. Looks great. Her dress is beautiful with the roses.
Oh, yeah, she looks fabulous.
Burger Deluxe.
Yeah, so that was just a little part that I had of the diner. Then let's see if I have this. Oh, here we go. Here's our friend coming up, Billy Landon.
Burger Deluxe, cheese, fries. You got it, guys.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, I remember
here's
you.
the double back.
You'll see the double back.
Wait a minute. Is that you, Virginia? It's me, Billy Lansley. I grew up around the block from you.
Look, she could give a shit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How are you?
Polite.
Benny wants to kill him.
He's just like, get out of here. I'm on a date. Get out of here.
So here he is biting into the burger, and we're going to stop right now. So he freaking goes in the back. When I say he, Billy Landon.
Billy, the waiter.
He's with the other waiter, and he says, I'm sick of waiting on all these mob guys coming in with their beautiful dates, gotten to kiss their ass. And the other waiter says, hey, what are you worried about? They're really good tippers, and, it's not so bad. The guy goes, here's what I think about that. And it was hard to watch.
It was really rank. Yeah, he
spits a huge loogie right in Benny's burger. He goes, and this one's for Benny Zaletta. Oh,
it was really grody.
It
That's
was
disgusting.
wicked grody. So, and then when you see him in this scene, he's biting the burger. He's just kind of got this look on his face. He doesn't know.
And Virginia's all happy eating her pickle. She's
like, I like my pickle. So at 12 minutes and 17 seconds, it cuts to the sit down between Crazy Chris Telva and Matty Cigars. It's a scene that you can go ahead and tell. We wanted to have the scene in. We decided not to have the scene in.
Correct. We'd rather you go and watch it on the series because it's just such a powerful scene. We don't want to spoil anything for you to
Matty Cigars, the acting is unbelievable. It really strikes me. I talked about it in the past episodes. It was a moving scene. It really was. And it's all about, there's a real, he's basically threatening to go to war over everything that happened. And it's his son. And Chris basically says, how many years we've been doing business together. And he says, I got to know before I walk out of here that this kid's going to be okay.
Right.
And Matty says, we're good, Chris. And then what happens is Chris goes and embraces him, and he takes his hand in friendship. And I think that was probably one of the most moving parts of that scene, and the strength that was displayed by Matty Cigars, unbeliuvable.
Very powerful scene.
Yeah,
So check it out.
Go watch the scene. Let us know what you think.
Absolutely.
I was blown away. And sorry that I don't have to show you, but you want to go watch it anyway.
Now we cut back to the restaurant after that scene with Matty Cigars, and Benny is in the bathroom, and Billy, the waiter that we have grown to hate, is in there talking to the other waiter, basically bragging about how he treats all these gangsters the same way, and that when you get them out of the numbers, they're not so tough. And Benny is in the bathroom as well, and the waiter doesn't know that he's in there. So
he actually says, he goes, I can't believe you spit
in
Benny Zaletta's food.
Yeah, big mistake. Big mistake. So now we go outside. We're walking into the parking lot. And I know this is one of your favorite scenes, Chris, because it brings you back to the Bronx Tale?
Yeah, the Bronx Tale. The test.
For Virginia, you took the test and you passed. So Benny, a gracious gentleman, opens the door as he should for Virginia. She gets in the car. And what does she do? She leans over and she actually opens the car door.
The test seat. That's what's important. Forget about everything
else. Nothing else matters.
I loved that scene. You did a great job, William, at that.
That is awesome.
It melted my heart.
Absolutely. So then he gets in the car and then he says, oh, you know what, sweetie? My beeper. I left my beeper in there. She says, oh, honey, I can go get it for you. He's like, no, I'll go ahead. I'll go get it myself. And this is where the fun happens. So he goes back in. Do you have the scene, Chris?
I do. And I just want to say it's pretty fun. Benny does a really good job at containing himself in the car,
yes,
right?
He plays it cool.
I
was watching. So one of the things I like to do is I like to really watch people. And I like to see where the moment is, and his breathing, his chest. You don't see his chest getting elevated. You don't see any tension in his face. You don't see any discoloration. He did really good at keeping it cool.
Didn't want Virginia
keeping it
to know
cool
what was
under
going
wraps.
on.
Yeah. He's like, oh no, playing it casual.
So yeah, that's how he walks back in, and here we go. We're gonna play it right now. Let's watch it together.
That guy was in my little league team. It sucked.
Hello.
What's up, guys? Continue cooking. You know, I always wondered what the kitchen looked like in this joint.
So everybody knows shit's about to go wrong. And what happens is he ends up kicking everybody else out.
Yeah, he tells
And,
even the chef's like, I'm the chef. He's like, get the
fuck
F
out.
out
Get
of
out.
here.
And he
And then Billy's like, but we were on the same little league team.
He's like, you remember that
Oh,
now?
you bring that up
You bring
now?
that
He
up
says, yeah. No, that's not saving you, buddy.
not saving you.
You should have given him the respect at the table. If you recognized him, you should have. Especially, you know what? And that's a lesson for life. Don't interrupt someone's date when you recognize both people and not acknowledge the man.
Goddamn right.
You know?
Show
That's a
some respect.
surefire way to get a beating and some pasta thrown down your face.
That's
so.
right. He dumps the Barilla elbow macaronis. You know, I don't know if I remember Barilla back in the 80s.
You know, you and I, Chris, I was just thinking, I was like, you know what? I want to go look at the logo and see if that's some vintage pasta.
Yeah, but you know, I don't know.
I think we're being nitpicky. We don't need to nitpick our buddy William DeMeo.
No, we do not. So the next scene, and I just wanted to say that because he kicks him and he says a few times, "You spit in my food," and then it kind of goes back to what we talked about in the fight with Danny Cuccio. AIDS was rampant. We didn't know how that was affecting people,
and not to mention respect.
And the respect.
Respect is all we have.
That's what it goes back to that sit down he had with Manny, because respect is all we have. If this kid can't respect my position, and don't you think that those words echoed in Benny's head as he was in the toilet and he heard about this jagoff spitting in his food? Goddamn right. And he made it. He made it work.
Off. Yeah, I like it when he hit him with the pan.
Yeah, I did too.
All right, next scene opens with Tommaso sitting on the stoop, and he's playing with the Rubik's Cube, which this brings me back. I was always so bad at the Rubik's Cube.
I was too.
And I think he makes the mention that, I could only do one side.
Raise your hand if you only could get one color. I was horrible at the Rubik's Cube. And you know, another thing that made me think about it is I remember I got a real Rubik's Cube, like a branded one. And then, of course, we got the knockoff one as well. And I remember the smoothness and the action was so much better on the Rubik's Cube. But anyway, I ended up taking the Fugazi one apart and putting it together to make it look like I knew how to do it.
Well, you know, that is actually the secret to understanding how those things work.
You got to take them apart.
You know.
So they have a long kind of sit-down talk on the stoop there, and Benny asks what's wrong with him, and Tommaso shows him the newspaper article.
Right, because he seemed to have a down attitude, just kind of.
And he showed him about the boy being killed in Borough Park. He said it's supposed to be a safe place.
And Benny says, yeah, I heard about that on the news as well.
He talks about, Tommaso tells him that he spoke to Gino and Vinny and that they understand. And that Tommaso tells Benny that he takes on too many people's problems. And I actually thought that was a really insightful, friendly thing that he said, because it's freaking true. Benny carries the whole weight of the neighborhood on his shoulders. Everyone in his crew, everyone who walks the streets, I feel like Benny feels responsibility for.
Sure. Well, your whole Gravesend is his territory, so I like that.
And then he talks about he brings up the fight that he had when he was a boy, where he got into a fight with another boy playing stickball or something, and he was getting the better of him, and his dad Carmelo came out, kicked Benny, and pushed his mom.
Yep, and that later, as we learn, is a turning point.
Yeah, that's what he said. Do you ever think about the turning point in your life? And he goes, this was the turning point. He was kind of sharing that with him. And it actually is a really powerful scene. I love it. Even Jasper comes out, as he says, like a bull, and he tries to defend his family, but he was no match, as they said, for Carmelo.
Right.
And that was it. He was like, that's when my mom called Uncle Charlie. And this is when we introduce a brand new character to the show, to the series, Uncle Charlie. And his character is played by Chris Tardino, and you're going to remember him, of course, from The Sopranos.
I have to say it every time.
Up in the club. We loved. So he played Sean Giussmani, if I'm saying that right. I'm just going off of memory. Him and Matthew Bevilacqua were doing some things with Christopher Moltisanti and ended up shooing Christopher Moltisanti. So
I remember that.
But anyway, that's so he comes into the scene, and it's a black and white scene.
Yep.
I have it. Let's take a watch of it because it's really cool. There's a black Lincoln Continental.
He pulls up looking pretty powerful.
Yeah.
So.
And it's got the suicide door.
Carmelo knew he fucked up.
Taking off his jacket.
Man, It's my kid.
As he should be.
My son.
Yeah, so obviously the neighbor Carmelo knows what's about to happen.
No.
Uncle Charlie's a known man. Goodbye.
It's too late to plead.
So these are the moments that change Benny's life.
Thing I will never forget was a
That's
neighbor's
that. He
face.
throws a few punches, puts his jacket back on.
So he says he'll never forget the neighbors' faces. Nobody said anything. No one called the cops.
How you doing? You all right?
That's how you handle things.
And then
You all right? Yeah.
notice Jasper doesn't come up and shake his hand. And then here we go. And then we see the ring.
See
And
the
that's the
ring for
same.
the first time.
And that's the ring that we see Ben and
Yeah,
Gillette
you
wearing.
see Benny wearing that ring today.
So really fun scene, and I like how they did it in black and white and still color coded the ring. It was just
Absolutely.
it was really cool.
It's a focus of power there, you know.
So then Benny says to Tommaso, your dad doesn't talk to you anymore still.
Nope. And then he's like, not since Mom died. He tried.
Yeah, he's up at the Poconos full time, and he told him when he did that bid in jail, he never talked to him
That
or
was
came
it.
in. He never
His
saw
dad,
him.
Yep, disowned him pretty much from there.
And he even
But his mom would call him every week.
he went. She
Or
went,
his
he went to
mom
go
would
see
go
him
up
every
there,
weekend.
rather. Yeah, his mom would go every
And
week.
Tommaso says, he's still your dad. Maybe you should make the call. And I just this is really good Catholic guilt. We all grew up with this here in New England, and I appreciated that scene with him telling him, you really should. The next scene, there's a fisherman shows, and he's fishing at a I guess a lake area, or I don't even know, probably the ocean, and he pulls up the boy's body.
Yes.
He didn't pull him up, but he finds the boy's body, and this is Jacob, who was murdered by Saul. Then we cut to 25-26 on the timeline, and
Here we are at Virginia's house.
and they're playing the Cover Girls.
Cover Girl.
Show me, you really love me is the
Oh,
song.
he's about to show you.
Hey, I met the Cover Girls, and I hung out with them, and I wish I was looking for the photos and the autographs that I had. They played a club here in Western Mass. My mom was friends with the owner, so we got to totally hang out, and I wasn't even of age, but it was a really good time. And I brought a bunch of my friends. We had a whole table. The Cover Girls sang to us. It was really good.
Magical.
Yeah, see, this is why I love these times, because it brings me back. I forgot about that memory until I
Yeah.
saw that,
It's a 15-year-old boy fantasy right there.
I think I was like 17, but so
Even better.
So now they're at Virginia's house, and Benny's saying you're a great cook, and she makes him some pasta, and it looks like a steak.
Yeah, they have a nice steak there. And she offers him some wine. He says that's where we know that the alcohol doesn't mix with him
Yeah,
well.
you don't see Benny drinking at all.
No, except for that one scene in the memory montage,
Yeah,
dreaming,
when he
where
was
we
dreaming, yes.
saw him drinking. And, they're just having some casual conversation, and she's talking about how her father, how Virginia's father had left her with some real estate, and how Benny should do the same. And he just kind of has a look where he's like, I'm working on some things.
She's smarter than she lets on.
Yeah.
She knows what she's doing.
Business savvy.
Yeah, she is. She wants to open up
It-
a hair salon, but here she's a landlord. She's got passive income coming in.
Well, we really
gotta-
don't know what she was doing besides being married down in
Yeah, good
Texas. So
point.
she could have been a quite lucrative business owner. And did she say that she wanted to have a hair salon?
yeah, she
or
wanted
she
to.
Had
She worked at a hair
She
salon.
worked
when
at
she
a
was in
hair
Texas,
salon.
yes.
So, whatever that's worth. So
they end up having sex, and she was like, it was some kind of thing they get into, and she goes, "What are you? Don't want to fuck me?" And the next thing you know, and I like because they're not at Benny's house. He takes the steak and shoves it off the table.
yeah, you like that. We
They go,
mentioned
and she
that.
looks hot in that pink outfit on the table there. So they go at it, and it's kind of an exciting scene. So she had him over. She cooked him dinner. They had this whole thing. They had sex, and then Benny goes out with the guys.
Yes, Benny's got meetings. I guess
Yep.
that's how that goes.
Well, remember they want to go out. They're hitting Chantel's tonight, so everybody goes out. They got a table, and they're all sitting around the table, and they get sent 3 champagne glasses. They said, Johnny sent these over to you, Benny.
They're like,
Do I-
oh yeah, Johnny did the right thing there. Yeah.
But did he?
I mean, really, you couldn't have sent the whole bottle?
Yeah, here we
I
go.
mean, 3 glasses?
He did the right thing.
Looks like there's 4 glasses.
No, that looked like a martini glass
Okay.
that Vinny had.
So I was just like, why didn't they send over a bottle? But whatever. So here we go. Brand new character introduced.
Johnny Mad Dog.
Johnny Mad Dog. So he's a soldier in the Gambini family. Obviously, he's played by Joe D'Onofrio. I always say that name horribly wrong. I apologize. Of course, this guy's great. You love him.
You can see the passion as he's talking to his friend, and he's looking out for him there.
So, all right, that's the end of that scene. So basically, he just tells him that we're with you guys. If there's ever a problem, you should know that. And then he points down to some of the other crews that are in there. So they point out Jojo Armelio, soldier in the Janessa family, and that's when he says, hey, the thing that happened with Matty Cigar's kid, that wasn't your fault. That
wasn't your fault.
And that's why he's saying, hey, that's why we're out. You know what I mean?
We're out here to save face, show them we're not afraid. We're not afraid to go out.
So Benny goes back. He sees the other crew. And he goes, Andiamo, it's time to go. They start walking down the stairs, and they're catcalling all the girls.
Yeah, they're seeing some ladies checking out the gams, walking by.
And then all of a sudden, Benny kind of scans the floor as he goes to walk out because he's a little concerned of how things are going to go down. And as they're walking out, Gino,
here he goes again.
So I don't have the whole thing, but here we go. Here's a boom. So Gino throws a punch. He's like, "What are you looking at?" Next thing you know, the whole place lights up. Here's
and not
Mikey.
for nothing, it wasn't instigated.
What do you mean?
Gino
was hot.
Yeah, Gino should not have punched that guy. He was out.
He always says, "Look who's here," and then he's like, "What are you doing?" And boom, yeah. And then you see Benny's going off. Everybody's going off. He's doing what he's got to do.
Well, you got to represent your crew. If one's in a melee, you all got to go tap into that melee. So big fight ensues.
Jojo comes up. He kicks everybody out, but Benny says Ronnie wants to see him
Ronnie
upstairs.
wants to see you. And I love this next scene.
Yeah, here we go.
We're introduced to Ronnie Gustavo, a.k.a. Ronnie. He's the a captain in the Janessa family.
It's his club.
Yeah, did you think we'd meet with my guys dragging up here for being a fucking jerk off in my club?
I love that line.
I guess I don't have his filmography. I don't have his actor.
He really doesn't like it when I sit with someone like you without him being here.
You think Chris is gonna save you tonight?
Yeah, look at this.
Well, I think it's gonna get back to him that I was called into your office.
Let me explain something to you. Matty Cigars is like my brother.
Yeah, so
His son's like a second son to me. The thing that happened outside this club, my
Benny
joint,
knows it's not good.
that's a death sentence twice, Benny. 2 fucking times. We let it go because you handle yourself correct. Chris and Matty talk.
He killed Dom.
But then you come in here tonight and start
AKA
fucking
killed him.
fight with your jerk off crew. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Well, and that's true.
Because
He's going out to
family,
save
Benny?
face, and then this happens, so he knows. And he actually says, "Look at this kid. He's going to hear it from me when I get out of here." And
he says, when I get out of here, he's like, well, how do you assume you're getting out of here? Big assumption, but I like that you have to assert that shit to see where you're standing.
So and Benny, I liked where Benny, that's one of the things I love about this character is he handles himself so well in tension situations.
Very level-headed.
He's level-headed. He doesn't get hot. He doesn't act out, and he knows.
And he's methodical in the words.
That's
that
one of the
he
things
speaks.
about it is that you learn about when to speak, when not to speak, when to be over the top, when to be humble, right? Benny plays all the right notes.
You have to read the room and the people that
he
you're
really
talking
does.
to.
And what he says, he goes, I'm sure I know you worked hard to get where you are, giving him respect. And that kind of chilled him out a little bit. And then he says, and I'm sure you might have been in the same position
in a similar
as I am.
position as I am. And you could just see that pulled on his heartstrings
really
a little
did.
bit. And he was like, well.
That's it.
And that's when he tells him go.
Yeah,
and off you go now.
And I think Benny's relieved.
He's like, okay.
He's relieved at that. So then we move back to the club. They go right in. Benny goes in. I mean, actually, there's a little scene with Mikey there where everybody's kind of like nursing their wounds again. And Benny comes in with Tommaso.
Well, actually, they're kind of laughing a little bit.
Are they?
Yeah, they were laughing a little bit. Because I know that when Benny walks in, Gino actually has a bit of a smile on his face before Benny grabs him and shoves him against
Tommaso grabs him. Tommaso grabs him, and then he puts
grabs
him up.
him.
And he says, "You put this whole family at risk.
You can't get over this.
You can't get over what happened to you.
Yeah.
And
get the fuck out of here."
And then he kicks Vinny out too. He says, "Vinny, you
poor
go
Vinny,
too." So
you.
Vinny's
he says,
out.
"Get the fuck out,
Poor
Vinny."
Vinny. He didn't really do anything wrong, but he had to go too.
You're as good as the group you surround yourself with. So
then they sit. So Benny sits down at the table. He's got Tommaso on one side. He's got Mikey the Hat, and Mikey the Hat is feeling a little bit of pressure right now. And he actually brings up, and I've got a scene of it here. It comes up on 32 minutes on the timeline, where he's kind of responsible for Gino and Vinny, and he knows things haven't been going well.
That kid, he reminds me of me. After my sister was killed by that fucking maniac.
So then we get
son
some
of Sam,
context.
I want to kill everybody.
Yeah, let me just pause this for a second. So Mikey the Hat's sister was killed by the son of Sam, and another amazing writing attribute to this series.
Right, really it encapsulates the time.
And if you remember at the beginning, if you watch episode 1 of Talking Gravesend podcast, one of the first things that Chris and Benny talk about is that Mikey the Hat gets a little ornery that he hasn't been made yet. And that's why it says, that's why you got in 30 and he's still waiting. And this kind of, and now we find out that backstory is because he was emotional. He didn't follow the rules. And here we go. Let's finish out the scene.
Anger inside of me. But as you know, Benny, that hurt me. I made bad decisions. I broke the rules. And truth be told, I'm lucky to be sitting here.
See?
Your call. All you gotta do is say the word and I'll take care of it.
The
And look at
second
Benny.
person to be threatening Gino's life.
So be it.
Well, Benny knows. Everybody knows at the table what's at stake.
Yeah.
And
But you need a guy like that in your crew too, so it's a tough one.
And you can feel the pressure and the stress of it all with Benny in this scene, and really being the third episode, the third act in the series.
The tension's really built.
The tension's built. We've got some serious antagonists here, and really just another fantastic episode. I know you don't like the hand slam.
I don't like the hand slam.
We're absolutely in love with the show. We hope you are too. Make sure you go ahead and follow the Gravesend series on all of the social media. They have a beautiful Facebook, a great Instagram. Go ahead and follow all the cast too. William DeMeo,
Oh
Christian
my gosh, they're
DeMeo.
very active on the
Very
social
active.
media.
I like
Yeah.
Big Rocco's feed myself.
I do too.
And Chris Marmendo. I love this guy. Gaetano's feed is totally awesome. And while you're checking out all those feeds, show us some love too, right? Make sure you go ahead, follow the Talking Gravesend podcast Facebook page. Make sure you go ahead and follow us on Instagram. And if you're not too much trouble, if you haven't, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the Talking Gravesend podcast YouTube.
On YouTube. That's
Yeah.
right.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and get ready to do the final episode of the season.
And then we're going to do our season wrap.
Our
But
season
yeah,
wrap-up,
I cannot
episode 4
wait
coming.
to talk about episode 4. So lots of excitement.
Make sure you go ahead, if you haven't already seen Gravesend, it's available, as I said, on Amazon Prime and Tubi. Make sure you watch up, get caught up so you can enjoy reviewing episode 4 with us in just a couple of days. All right, on behalf of all of us here, all of us, you and I.
You and I.
Here in Springfield. Any final words?
I'll see you on the streets.
All right. Ciao.
Ciao.